Number 7. Isaiah Stokes. On February the 7th of 2021, a man was gunned down in broad daylight in Queens, New York City. A hail of bullets came down upon 37-year-old Tyrone Jones as he sat in a white rented Jeep Grand Cherokee in Forest Hills. He immediately succumbed to his wounds after being struck by multiple bullets in the face and head. The attack was captured by surveillance cameras, and the gunman was identified as actor Isaiah Stokes, who'd starred in the TV series Power, Law & Order SVU, and The Americans. Stokes, who was in his early 40s at the time, had a criminal record and gang affiliations. While a motive for the shooting wasn't officially confirmed, a police source told New York Daily News that the two men had previously fought over a woman. 4 months before the shooting, a physical altercation was reported between them at Jones's birthday party in Long Island City nightclub after the latter had made advances towards Stokes' girlfriend. On the day of the shooting, Jones was waiting for a woman, but it's unclear if she was connected to Stokes. The gunman was eventually charged with murder, facing 25 years to life if convicted. Number 6. Anthony Weiner. From January of 1999 until June of 2011, U.S. politician Anthony Weiner represented New York's 9th Congressional District. Then on May the 11th of 2011, it emerged that Weiner had used his Twitter to send a woman a link containing a revealing photo of himself. While initially denying that he'd been responsible, Weiner subsequently held a conference, during which he'd admitted to having sent explicit messages and photos to at least 6 women over a 3-year period. He formally resigned from Congress on June the 21st, but later returned to politics as a New York City mayoral candidate. In July of 2013, he was at the center of another sexting scandal involving 22-year-old Indiana woman Sydney Leathers. She had initially come into contact with Weiner to express her disapproval of his extramarital escapades. The disgraced congressman sent her explicit photos under the alias Carlos Danger. In 2016, the New York Post reported that Weiner had sent similar content to another woman, and his wife subsequently announced her intention to separate from him. In September of that same year, several of Weiner's devices were confiscated after reports that he'd had inappropriate online exchanges with an underage girl from North Carolina. Following negotiations, he pleaded guilty to a single charge of transferring obscene material to a minor. In November of 2017, he was sentenced to 21 months in prison and ordered to register as an offender for the rest of his life. Number 5. Courtney Clenny. Popular OnlyFans and Instagram model Courtney Clenny was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in late August of 2022 in connection to the death of her boyfriend, Christian Toby Obomseli. The incident had occurred on April the 3rd of that same year at the high-rise Miami condo that the couple shared. Sources familiar with their relationship reported that their relationship was turbulent and that it would often devolve into violence, although it wasn't clear who'd been the main aggressor. Building managers reportedly wanted to evict them from the building because of their recurring rows. Surveillance footage from the elevator showed Clenny repeatedly hitting Obomseli in the head and face in late February, roughly 2 months before his death. The man pushed her away, but at no point retaliated with strikes of his own. On the day of the incident, Clenny called 911, claiming 27-year-old Obomseli had been stabbed and needed help. She told the dispatcher that he was dying and was heard on the call saying, "I'm so sorry, baby." Video footage, subsequently released by TMZ, showed her talking to the authorities on the condo's balcony, only wearing a bra and covered in her boyfriend's blood. She was at one point seen letting her dog lick the blood off her face. Clenny claimed she'd acted in self-defense after Obomseli had attacked her and grabbed her by the throat. As per the arrest affidavit, she'd thrown a knife at Obomseli, fatally hitting him in the chest from 10 feet away. A medical examiner would rule that the man's wound, which was 3 inches deep, would have been caused by forceful pressure. As the investigation progressed, the police found further evidence to support a murder charge, and Clenny was arrested while at a rehab clinic on Hawaii's Big Island. where she was getting treatment for substance abuse and PTSD. Number 4. Patrick Cannon. Within roughly 6 months of becoming the 56th mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina, on March the 26th of 2014, Patrick Cannon was arrested on public corruption charges of theft and bribery. The 47-year-old's political career had been gaining momentum for years. Rising from the city's public housing projects, he had become the youngest Charlotte City Council member in the city's history, at the age of 26. In 2010, the FBI had launched a sting operation aimed at detecting fraudulent activity within the council. Cannon was approached by undercover agents posing as business people. Throughout their interactions, he was proven to have accepted over $48,000 in cash, airline tickets, a hotel room, and the use of a luxury apartment in exchange for political favors. Even after he was elected mayor, Cannon persisted to engage in the shady dealings. One agent had been posing as a Las Vegas real estate developer, looking to build mixed-use developments along a recently approved streetcar line in Charlotte. According to an affidavit, Cannon promised to use an upcoming meeting with President Obama to press the undercover agent's interests. On June the 3rd of 2014, he pleaded guilty to honest services wire fraud and was sentenced to 44 months in prison. Following his release and after getting his rights restored, Cannon sought redemption by running for city council in the spring of 2022. He finished last in the election. Number 3. Mystikal. In the early 2000s, Michael Lawrence Tyler, better known by his rap name, Mystikal, was on the cusp of a promising career. His 2001 album, Tarantula, had been nominated for a Grammy Award, and in 2003, it starred in the movie 13 Dead Men. That same year, however, he was indicted on charges of battery and extortion for assaulting and abusing his hairstylist. In Louisiana, aided by his bodyguards, Tyler had forced the woman to perform intimate acts on him after accusing her of stealing $80,000 in checks. Tyler maintained that the relations had been consensual, but a videotape of the incident was found at his home in the aftermath. A guilty plea was negotiated, which kept the tape from being presented as evidence, and Tyler was expecting to receive probation. However, in a dramatic twist, the judge decided to view the footage during sentencing. The rapper's prior drug and gun possession arrests were factored into the sentencing, and he was ordered to serve 6 years in prison. He was released in 2010 and had to register as an offender. While unable to return to his previous career form, Tyler seemed to be recovering well, as he was signed to prominent hip-hop label Cash Money Records in 2016. The following year, however, he was once again charged with abuse. Tyler was held at Louisiana's Cato Correctional Center for 18 months until he was able to post bond, but the charges were ultimately dismissed. Most recently, on July the 31st of 2022, he was arrested in Ascension Parish, Louisiana. Not many details regarding the incident were disclosed, but once again, his alleged crimes included assault as well as simple criminal damage to property, false imprisonment, domestic abuse, battery, and strangulation. Number 2. Bobby Fischer. Chess grandmaster Bobby Fischer is often listed among the best players of all time, having won a record of 8 US championships by the age of 14. His title match against the USSR's Boris Spassky at the 1972 World Championship, which he won, attracted more attention than any other chess event in history, as it was touted as a Cold War-era confrontation. Fischer didn't play another competitive match in public for 2 decades, but his re-emergence would also mark the beginning of his downfall. Fischer played a rematch with Spassky in 1992 in Belgrade, Yugoslavia. There was a UN embargo on the country in effect at the time, which included sanctions on commercial activities. The United States Department of the Treasury warned Fischer that he'd be in violation of President George H.W. Bush's executive order by taking part in the match. Fischer responded during the first scheduled press conference on September the 1st, 1992, when in front of the international press, he spat on the US order, saying, "This is my reply." Upon the match's completion, which Fischer won, US federal officials issued a warrant for his arrest. He became a fugitive, living in Hungary and then in the Philippines. He sparked further ire when on September the 12th of 2001, he advocated for extremist mass violence against the US, claiming, "I applaud the act." Fischer followed it up with profoundly anti-Semitic statements, saying that he hoped the US would be taken over by the military and that they'll close down all the synagogues, arrest all the Jews, and execute hundreds of thousands of Jewish ringleaders. In 2004, he was arrested for trying to book a flight in Tokyo with his revoked US passport. Fischer faced deportation and punishment for the decades-long sanctions violations, but was eventually granted an alien's passport by Icelandic authorities. He eventually became a full citizen and lived in the country until his death in 2008. Number 1. Robert Blake. Actor Robert Blake began working in the film industry as a child, before starring in the 1967 film In Cold Blood and on the TV series Beretta in the 1970s, with his career described as one of the longest in Hollywood history. Blake's fall from grace was marked by the murder of his wife, Bonnie Lee Bakley, which occurred on May the 4th of 2001. The couple had gone to dinner at an LA restaurant, outside of which, as she sat in the passenger seat of the actor's Dodge Stealth, Bakley was executed via a gunshot to the head. Blake maintained that he wasn't present when the shooting occurred, as he'd gone back to the restaurant to retrieve a gun he'd left behind. Investigators found that it wasn't the weapon used in Bakley's murder. During the trial that followed, the prosecution proposed that Blake and his longtime bodyguard, Earl Caldwell, had contracted retired stuntmen to carry out Bakley's murder. Blake's alleged motive had been that the woman had tricked him into fathering a child to trap him in a loveless marriage and gain access to his wealth. Her friends and relatives reported she was celebrity obsessed. Bakley was still in a relationship with Christian Brando, son of acting great Marlon Brando, when she started dating Blake. She had a daughter and told both men they were the father, although a paternity test proved the child to be Blake's. The actor agreed to marry Bakley provided she signed a temporary custody agreement. Blake's defense pointed to Bakley's checkered past as a source of many potential enemies who would have had apparent motive to harm her, including Brando. She'd been married 9 times prior to meeting Blake and had been running a lucrative Lonely Hearts scam before and throughout her marriage to the actor. It involved posting ads in magazines for a male companion and then tricking men into sending her money. Blake was ultimately acquitted of the murder in 2005, but found liable of Bakley's wrongful death later that same year, in a civil trial launched by the woman's children. A pivotal moment during the proceedings was when Caldwell's girlfriend was asked directly if she believed the bodyguard and Blake had been involved in the killing, to which she tearfully and unexpectedly replied, yes. Blake was ordered to pay $30 million while Bakley's murder remained officially unsolved. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be famous but on the verge of bankruptcy, or wealthy from a job you hate? Let us know in the comments section below.